cypress trees drink from the dark, where the river don't run, it just breathes. There's a fire burning low on the muddy bank, and a woman dancing slow in the reeds. She's got candles in a circle and bones in her hair, and a voice like the bayou at night. I told myself don't go near that riverbank, son, but my feet had already decided I might. The trumpet called like it knew my name, the hammer moaned like it felt my shame. Something old woke up in the Louisiana mud, and it moved through the music straight into my blood. Bayou fever got me burning from the inside out. Bayou fever, what this woman is all about. She don't need words, she just moves and the whole world bends. Bayou fever, once it starts it never really ends, never ends. She told me her grandmother came from Haiti with a suitcase full of secrets and song. Said the music is the oldest kind of medicine, and the silence is where things go wrong. We danced till the fireflies gave up and went home, till the frogs stopped their testifying. She poured something dark in a clay cup and smiled, said, drink it or spend your whole life wondering why. The trumpet called like it knew my name, the hammer known like it felt my shame. Something old woke up in the Louisiana mud, and it moved through the music straight into my blood. Bayou fever got me burning from the inside out. Bayou fever, what this woman is all about. She don't need words, she just moves and the whole world bends. Bayou fever, once it starts it never really ends, never ends. I went back to the city with mud on my boots and a song I couldn't quite remember. But every time the rain hits the pavement just right, I smell that fire from that night in September. My friends say I've changed and I don't disagree. Something God rereads in my wiring. There are things that happen down by the river at night that are bigger than understanding or trying. Bayou fever got me burning from the inside out. Bayou fever, what this woman is all about. She don't need words, she just moves and the whole world bends. Bayou fever, once it starts it never really ends. Bayou fever in my head, Bayou fever in my plan, Bayou fever in my sleep, Bayou fever running deep.
asphalt. Every reflection tells a different lie. I've been walking these streets since the city fell, chasing ghosts that learned to multiply. A trumpet cries from a second floor window, some jazz club drowning in its own smoke. I light a cigarette I shouldn't be smoking, and read between the lines of what you never spoke. The rain doesn't clean this city, it just moves the dirt around. And every face I pass is hiding something that I've almost found. Neon rain, neon rain, washing out the names of the guilty and the sane. Neon rain, neon rain, in the city everyone's a saint inside their grave. The saxophone knows what the witnesses won't say. Just keeps on falling anyway. Third floor window, yellow light goes dark. Someone just decided something final. I've got a photograph and half a name and a feeling this road isn't going somewhere kind. The baseline pulses underneath the city like a heartbeat no one bothered checking on. The bartender pours without me asking. That's how you know you've been gone too long. The rain doesn't clean this sea, it just moves the dirt around. And every face I pass is hiding something that I've almost found. Neon rain, neon rain, washing out the names of the guilty and the sane. Neon rain, neon rain, in the city everyone's a saint inside their grave. The saxophone knows what the witnesses won't say. Because silence has a weight, and someone's gotta carry what the city won't let go. Neon rain, neon rain, washing out the names of the guilty and the sane. Neon rain, neon rain, in the city everyone's a saint inside their grave. The saxophone knows, the trumpet mourns the day. Neon rain just keeps on falling, keeps on falling anyway.
The platform emptied out at 9:30. One old woman waving at nobody. I pressed my forehead to the cold glass pane and watched the only life I knew recede from me. The blues was born in towns exactly like this one, where the young leave and the old just wave them gone, where the church still stands but the congregation's thinning, and the jazz on the radio plays all night long. I told myself I'd write, I told myself I'd coin, I told myself that leaving wasn't leaving after all. Last train home, last train home. The tracks don't run back to the place I've known. Last train home, last train home. The blues plays loud but the jazz plays alone, and the rock in my chest keeps the engine turning, but my eyes stay fixed on what I'm leaving behind. Last train home, last train home. My father stood there with his hands in his pockets, the way he always stood when words ran dry. He raised one hand exactly as the train moved, and that half wave broke something I can't describe. The town had given me its blues and its beauty, its frozen winters and its summer light, its Saturday night fights and Sunday morning silence, its jazz station fading in and out at night. I told myself I'd write, I told myself I'd call, I told myself that leaving wasn't leaving, and after all, last train home, last train home. The tracks don't run back to the place I've known. Last train home, last train home. The blues plays loud but the jazz plays alone, and the rock in my chest keeps the engine turning, but my eyes stay fixed on what I'm leaving behind. Last train home, last train home. There's a version of me still standing on that platform, watching the train disappear into the grave. He never left, and I never quite came back. We just exist on either side of that the language that the fingers find in strings. Every fret a word I couldn't say out loud. Every chord progression questioning everything. My teacher said, son, you're playing too much feeling. I said, sir, I don't know how to play with less. He closed his book and walked into the hallway. I think I finally passed his hardest test. But somewhere in the middle of the solo, I stopped performing and I started falling through. The music wasn't mine anymore, and that was when it finally became true. This is my electric confession, every note of sin I don't regret. This is my electric confession, the loudest prayer that silence ever kept. I didn't find God in any building, I found him in the feedback and the hum. This is my electric confession, and I'm not done. I'm not done. 5 a.m. the neighbors hate my existence. The piano and the amplifier agree. There's a melody that lives between the genres that nobody owns and nobody can see. Bebop left me breathless in my 20s. Blues showed me that pain is perfect pitch. Rock and roll said burn the map completely. And I've been living somewhere in that ditch, because somewhere in the middle of the chaos, there's a frequency that holds the whole thing still. And chasing it has cost me sleep and friendships. Standing still has cost me even more will. This is my electric confession, every note of sin I don't regret. This is my electric confession, the loudest prayer that silence ever kept. I didn't find God in any building, I found him in the feedback and the hum. This is my electric confession, and I'm not done. I'm not done. They asked me what the song is about. I said everything and nothing in the space between the two. They asked me who I'm playing it for. I said for anyone who's ever felt too much to move. For the kid in the back of the classroom, drawing chord diagrams on his notebook cover. For the woman who cries at certain frequencies and doesn't know why, and doesn't need to discover. This is my electric confession, every note of sin I don't regret. This is my electric confession, the loud used to wake up with nothing but debt, a bottle of regret and a sky full of gray. My mama used to say, boy, you'll find your way. I told her, mama, I think I lost the map today. Work the fields till my hands forgot their shape. Sang the blues so long the blues became my name. But one Tuesday morning, something cracked the clouds, and the light that fell through wasn't playing games. I didn't find religion, I found something older than that. I found the sound of people who've been broken and come back. Southern soul revival, rise up from the red clay ground. Southern soul revival, let the brass horns make their sound. We've been low before the low ain't where we stay. Southern soul revival gonna carry us today. Hey, hey, hey. You've been carrying something heavy, lay it down. You've been walking in the darkness, turn it around. You've been told you were nobody, that's a lie. Then lift your hands up to that Georgia sky. My grandfather played trumpet in a Bourbon Street band, lost 3 fingers in a factory and learned to play again. That's the kind of blood that runs through these veins, not the kind that quits when it starts to rain. My sister sang in churches that nobody photographed, in towns too small for maps, but big enough for God. She had a voice like morning, coming after grief, the kind that gives the broken their belief. We didn't find religion, we found something older than that. We found the sound of people who've been broken and come back. Southern soul revival, rise up from the red clay ground. Southern soul revival, let the brass horns make their sound. We've been low before the low ain't where we stay. Southern soul revival gonna carry us today. Hey, hey, hey. This ain't about perfection, this ain't about being saved by someone else's hand. This is about standing in your own fire and learning how to dance. Tambourine rises, clapping intensified. Southern soul revival, rise up from the red clay ground. Southern soul revival, let the brass horns make their sound. We've been low before the low ain't where we stay. Southern soul revival gonna carry us today. Hey, 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 hey. Southern soul revival, sing it loud. Southern soul revival, revival for this crowd. Southern soul revival, revival. We survive. Southern soul revival, we're alive. The clock struck 12 on a broken road. My suitcase heavy, my heart more so. The wind was talking, but I couldn't hear the sound of everything I used to hold dear. The moon hung low like a warning sign. I had one foot in your world, one foot in mine. The crossroads called me with a hollow sound, like a blues harp crying underground. I've been running from a life half lived, taking more than I ever gave or give. But tonight the road won't let me choose. I'm drowning sober in my own blues. Midnight at the crossroads, nowhere left to fall. The devil didn't meet me, no one came at all. Just me in silence and a rusted sign pointing every direction, but none of them mine. Midnight at the crossroads, I made my peace with the man I was and the man I'll never be. I thought of you in that yellow dress, standing in the kitchen, beautiful mess. I thought of Father and his calloused hand, teaching me things I didn't understand. The organ moaned through the humid air, like a congregation, nobody's there. I pulled my collar against the cold. Some depths of the heart can never be sold. I've been writing letters I never sent, circling back to where it all began. But the crossroads don't care about your reasons why. It just watches as the headlights pass you by. Midnight at the crossroads, nowhere left to fall. The devil didn't meet me, no one came at all. Just me in silence and a rusted sign pointing every direction, but none of them mine. Midnight at the crossroads, I made my peace with the man who I was and the man I'll never be. So I picked up my case and I walked home. Not because north was right, just because standing still was the one thing I couldn't afford. One more night.
11:15, when the bar had given up on being full. Took the stool 2 down from where I'm sitting, like you knew exactly how to play it cool. The trumpet player caught your eye and nodded, like old friends who never actually met. You ordered something dark without explaining, and I ordered one more thing I'd soon forget. There's a language in the silence between strangers that says everything the mouth is too proud to speak. You were fluent in it, and I was only learning, and the distance between us was exactly 2 seats. Cool bird, slow and quiet like a candle in a storm. Cool bird, something in the cold that kept us both warm. We never said our names, and that was perfect. Some things stay truer when they stay unnamed. Cool bird, cool bird. The band played something slow and unmistakable. You closed your eyes for exactly 8 bars. I watched you like I wasn't, and you probably knew. Some people carry whole worlds like they carry their scars. I've had loud loves that shook the window frames, that ended fast and left the walls a mess. But something in the way you sat in silence made me want a kind of love that doesn't need to confess. There's a language in the silence between strangers that says everything the mouth is too proud to speak. You were fluent in it, and I was only learning, and the distance between us was exactly 2 seats. Cool bird, slow and quiet like a candle in a storm. Cool bird, something in the cold that kept us both warm. We never said our names, and that was perfect. Some things stay truer when they stay unnamed. Cool bird, cool bird. Last call came like it always does, too soon and not soon enough. You put your coat on slowly, like you were giving me a chance to say something. I didn't, you didn't. The trumpet player packed his horn, and the room remembered how to be just a room again. And some nights I still sit at that same stool, ordering the same thing, waiting for someone who already knows how to say nothing perfectly. Cool bird, slow and quiet like a candle in a storm. Cool bird, something in the cold that kept us both warm. We never said our names, and that was perfect. Some things stay truer when they stay unnamed. Cool bird,
porch light flickers like it's losing faith. My old guitar leans against the railing. The blues came early and it stayed for years. Now it just sits with me without complaining. I pour 2 glasses out of habit still. The jazz station plays through the kitchen window. Every chord they hit reminds me of the nights we danced barefoot when we were young and didn't know it. Rock and roll took me down 100 roads. Blues brought me back every single time. And somewhere in the jazz between the notes, I hear the shape of everything I left behind. Rust and stars, rust and stars. The blues don't lie and the rock don't heal the scars. But the jazz plays on like it knows something we don't. Rust and stars, rust and stars. Some things burn slow and some things burn hot. But rust and stars outlive the ones who forgot. Rust and stars. I played in bars where the smoke was thick as wool. 3 chords and a feeling that could split the room. The jazz boys laughed at first, then leaned in closer. When the blues came through, they swallowed up the tune. Ever know what sit right at the corner table, nursing something cheap and watching me? She said, you play like you're afraid of something. I said, darling, that's called honesty. Rock and roll took me down 100 roads. Blues brought me back every single time. And somewhere in the jazz between the notes, I hear the shape of everything I left behind. Rust and stars, rust and stars. The blues don't lie and the rock don't heal the scars. But the jazz plays on like it knows something we don't. Rust and stars, rust and stars. Some things burn slow and some things burn hot. But rust and stars outlive the ones who forgot. Rust and stars. Played enough bad gigs to know. Rust means something stood here and took the weather. Rust means the music had somewhere real to go. Rusting stars, rusting stars. The blues don't lie and the rock don't heal the scars, but the jazz plays on like it knows something we don't. Rusting stars, rusting stars. Some things burn slow and some things burn hot, but rusting stars outlive the ones who forgot. Rusting stars, rusting stars.